Hi, I'm Ana Teresa Ortiz, and today me and my group, Ana, Alice, Livia, and Maria Izabel, are going to present more about The Murders in the Rue Morgue, a story by Edgar Allan Poe. Well, The Murders in the Rue Morgue is a short story by Edgar Allan Poe, published in Graham's magazine in 1841. It has been described as the first modern detective story.
Hi, I'm Livia Valotto, and I'm gonna read for you some information about the author Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe was an American writer, poet, editor, and literary critic. Poe is best known for his poetry and short stories, particularly his tales of mystery and the macabre. He is considered the inventor of the detective fiction genre and is credited with contributing to the emerging genre of science fiction. Poe was the first well-known American writer to earn a living through writing alone, resulting in a financially difficult life and career. He attended the University of Virginia but left after a year due to lack of money. He also enlisted in the United States Army in 1827 when he began with the anonymous collection Tamerlane and Other Poems. He spent the next several years working for literary journals, becoming known for his own style of literary criticism. His work forced him to move among several cities, including Baltimore, Philadelphia, and New York City. In January 1845, Poe published his poem The Raven to instant success.
He planned for years to produce his own journal, but before it could be produced, he died in Baltimore on October 7, 1849, at age 40. The cause of his death is unknown and has been variously attributed to disease, alcoholism, substance abuse, suicide, and other causes. Edgar Allan Poe and his works influenced literature around the world, as well as specialized fields such as cosmology and cryptography. He and his work appeared throughout popular culture, in literature, music, films, and television. A number of his homes are dedicated museums today. The characters. The narrator. He is a French unnamed character that narrates in the first person the story about murder's investigation. We don't know a lot about him, just that he is Dupling's roommate and friend. See August Dupin. A quaint man who befriends the narrator. He has great analytical mind, and he is able to deduce almost anything simply by observing. He gets interested about the murder's case and starts to solve it.
The characters. Madame L'Espagne, an older woman who is found in a courtyard behind the house. She is badly beaten and her throat is severely cut. When the police move her body, her head falls off. Mademoiselle Camille L'Espagne. She is the daughter of Madame L'Espagne. She is found choked to death and shoved into a chimney. Adolphe Lebon, a bank clerk who was arrested for the murder of Madame and Mademoiselle L'Espagne. No evidence criminated him, and he was released with the conviction of the orangutan. Witnesses. Some neighbors who were at the night of the murder and gave their testimony to the journal. Sailor. The owner of the orangutan, who was unable to stop the animal from killing the L'Espagnes. Orangutan, an animal that belongs to the sailor. He escapes one night with the sailor's razor and brutally murders Madame L'Espagne and Camille L'Espagne.
Talking a little bit more about the plot of the story, we have that it takes part in Paris and it starts with the presentation of Auguste Dupin, which is a quaint man that is very intelligent and always seems to know what people are thinking. And in the very beginning of the book, we get to know more about how he thinks. When he figures out what his colleague, which is our storyteller, was thinking of at the moment they were walking together, and it's very interesting how he does that. And he explains how he came with the results about what he was thinking. As the story goes on, we have the information that Dupin and his friend found out about a weird murder that happened on Rumor while reading the newspaper, and the news said that police couldn't find an explanation to solve the mystery because of many things, and one of them was that the windows they were and the door they were locked on the inside, so the murderer couldn't leave the house. And without any clues, the police arrested a banker named Lebon with no evidence. But they thought it was him because he escorted Madame Les Banari, which was the old woman that was murdered, to her home with a lot of money. After reading the newspaper, Dupin showed a lot of interest with the case, and he and his friend went to Morgue to try to discover something. Dupin and our narrator, they were both shocked by the brutality of the murder. The old woman and her daughter were still in the room, dead in a horrible way. So Dupin started to analyze outdoors and indoors, and after a few hours, he returns home and spent hours thinking. When his friend asked him if he discovered what happened, he says that he was waiting for someone that surely would solve the whole mystery, and things start to get very interesting after this part happens.
Confused, our storyteller asks Dupin if he could explain to him how he came up with solution, and Dupin explains it at all. After some time explaining, he finally tells that the murderer wasn't a human, but a orangutan that probably ran away from a circus. His friends get shocked but believes in Dupin because it all makes sense. At the end of the day, a sailor knocks on the door and confirms the story Dupin has just told. They go to the policeman and tell him who murdered the old lady and his daughter. The man gets shocked and he couldn't believe in what happened, just like us readers. Here we have a funny way to know more about the plot of the story. In this cartoon, we can see all the principal scenes about the murders in the Rue Morgue, and we can understand the story in an easier way.
I, Livia, personally enjoy reading mysteries, so I like this story, and in my opinion, the author definitely knows how to get our attention. But although the story kept me interested, the ending disappointed me a little. I definitely didn't expect that ending, which is a good point to the story, but I prefer real stories, and I can imagine it happening in real life.
I'm a really fan of Edgar Allan Poe stories in general, but even though I already knew his plot was usually weird and had a weird ending, I was not prepared for what this one brought to the end, and I really found it interesting. Quite strange, but nice, and very catchy to read. I read it really fast because the author he really knows how to catch her attention, how to get her attention, and this is really amazing about his stories.
Well, I knew who was Edgar Allan Poe before, but even with a book of him at home, I never had courage to start reading it because I'm not a huge fan of horror and mysteries. But I am surprised because I got super interested in the plot. Now I want to read more of his work.
I had already read some of Edgar Allan Poe's stories before reading The Murders in the Rue Morgue, and I really like his work and the mystery in it. I can definitely say that this one was my favorite story from him because of the superb plot that kept me very interested during the whole story and the surprising ending that got me quite shocked.
The ending is very surprising, since throughout the story, following the ratiocination of Dupin and other circumstances of the events of the crime scene, we hope to come across with a truly cold killer, but it turns out to be just a frightened, irrational animal.
So, this was a little bit of the murders in the Rue Morgue. Thank you for watching our presentation, and we hope you like it.